I make a motion to approve the regular board meeting calendar for 2026.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Palmer,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes.
One more little note on that too. Down at the bottom, you can see Board of Education members, and you kind of see some information there. We're gonna update that. One thing we learned though is where it says appointed and it has certain dates there, that's not required. I think it's good to have that when someone is appointed, but once they're actually elected, we don't necessarily need to have that. We're gonna clean all that up once we update the board members after this meeting, so just an FYI there.
Thank you. Item 11, staff reports.
All right, elementary school, you wanna start us off?
I pulled it up on my phone to reference, but the first one, there are several things up here, and honestly, I'd be honored to talk about any of them, but wanted to share the fundraising celebration. So this, in, I want to say September is when we did the Bronco Color Run, which is hosted by our PTO. But in October, we got to do a lot of those celebrations. So kids were receiving their prizes, whether those were class prizes, individual. So it was just really fun. We worked really hard with hearing parent feedback, teacher feedback, and really our parent volunteers of coordinating to where kids weren't missing out of instructional time as much. So our families don't want like trinkets and things, but so making it to where kids are really getting excited about our opportunities, getting prizes. But then additionally in October, we had our first Bronco Derby, which was a huge success. It was so fun. Our teachers for years have been talking through like, what can we do different? You know, Family Fun Night, we kind of feel like we've changed the name, we've tried to spice it up, but we feel like it's run its course. And so at the end of last year, I said, guys, I'm game, but we need a plan. And so this year, one of our initiatives at the school has been really working on re-looking at our committees. And I said, guys, I think we need a fundraising committee. And so they took it and ran with it, and it was originally going to be at the last home football game, but as we know, weather was not the best. And so we actually rescheduled it for the Friday, which was Halloween, and it was so fun because rather than we wanted the whole community to see it, but it actually, I loved it so much more being during the school day because our entire student body got to be there, and it just made for such a fun experience for kids. They really got it, and that is really just going to be able to benefit other needs that we have in our school. So we're excited for our families who contribute, but then just getting to see and celebrate kids and celebrate what we can do for our school. So it's exciting. Do you guys have any questions about it?
Ms. Chavez, how much did the Bronco Derby end up raising in the end?
I was trying to look up, I didn't put the exact number in there, but it was around 16,000, I believe. So it was either 15 or 16,000.
And do you remember how much Family Fun Night was kind of bringing the last couple of years?
The last few years, because we had to start paying for the inflatables and all ourselves, they used to be donated and just things had changed. So I'm gonna say the last few years it had been around like 8,000 to 9,000 at our peak. So it was just really good to see, like, it was great. And part of it, Family Fun Night was fundraiser, but also a fun event for families. But this still, we got families involved and really got kids involved. So it was also focused on kids. But I will tell you, kids loved the Derby. So don't feel bad about the experience they had. They had such a blast. So yeah, it was
That's
really great.
Double the money, it's good.
Yeah,
That's great.
Thank you.
Middle school.
Okay, so I just want to brag on the middle school and the whole community as one. We're working on our food drive this week, and so we tried to up the game in the middle school. Like, hey, let's rally the troops. People need food, and at a much higher rate this year than they have in the past. And so we put a competition in there, and anytime we throw a competition at kids, you know, they're all about it. So Monday came, and like our boxes were overflowing, and just walking down the hall, and that does not happen in the middle school. And then my daughter comes home, and she was like, we went around for student council and got all these packed. She said, you would not believe how much they brought. Elementary always brings a whole bunch in, but this year everybody's bringing, and high school students are getting excited. And so they have sectioned off a part in Mrs. Kimbrough's room, and they're all, our middle school leadership team will go in and they will organize it and put it all in different groups and categories, and just to see the kids leading this and getting excited about, like a sophomore in high school coming and looking. I think it's twofold here because she's trying to find anything that might make a crock pot meal, and she's like, I'm gonna take that to someone else so that we don't have to make that here. But it's just a cool experience, and then like they're high-fiving in the hall as the high school comes by with the carts, and you know, giving the kids high fives. That you guys had a lot in your boxes today, and so I mean, just the whole kids getting involved in this, and teachers were, none of us are even around, and they're all celebrating each other. So it's been a good week just to watch that and blessing other people and people that are in need at this time. So it's been good to see.
That's great.
High school.
I'm going to talk for a second, but then I'm going to let Ms. Silva kind of take over. We did our college fair this last week, and we had about 25, I believe, colleges that came by, and really our big 3 E's is what we try to accomplish at the high school of employ, enroll, or enlist. So we had military, we had workforce, and we had colleges there to talk to our kids and to just give them opportunities. And we broke it into sections. Juniors went, seniors went, and then sophomores, and so they all kind of got a chance to see. And there's some pictures from what the college fair looked like. We had about 25 that were all around the high school gym. And Mrs. Melton is the queen of this. She's been doing this for so long. She has contacts with everybody, all the military branches, all the companies, all the colleges, and it's really nice to see the kids. She had a bingo card for them that they had to go by and get stamped to make sure they all went to see people, because you know what happens in high school. Those kids are like, I already know where I'm going, or I don't want to do this. They become a little bit apathetic in that. Mrs. Melton spiced it up with a bingo card, and she did a really good job. So I just wanted to touch lightly on that, but Ms. Silva is here tonight to talk more about what our new initiative this the year is our brick and mortars. Ms. Silva?
Yeah. So last month, Mr. Jewell talked to you guys a little bit about brick and mortar. That's one of the exciting things that we've included in our board report over the last couple of months. And so today I just want to give you some more info into what brick and mortar is now that we've started it, give you an update. So several years ago, a team of our teachers went to an RTI conference and they came back on fire for it, ready to do something at the high school. For those of you who don't know, RTI, or Response to Intervention, is a systematic school-wide approach to reaching all students so that all students have the opportunity to succeed. So, in order to understand kind of brick and mortar and the RTI model in general, I wanted to just share this quick graphic. This is my favorite graphic because I love color coding. So on this graphic, you can just see there are 3 tiers. Students move through these tiers fluidly. It changes often, and for each standard and every subject, it can always be different. So if you look at the top of that little pyramid, that wide section is tier 1, and that's where all of our students are receiving grade level instruction. That's our first best instruction that's provided by classroom teachers every day. Most of our students will master the content at that time, but for our students who don't, we look at tier 2, and tier 2 instruction is where our students need a little bit of support to master those grade level skills. And that is usually provided by that classroom teacher or by another teacher on that team. So at the high school, on any given day, that could look like a teacher working with a few students who didn't get this skill, or it could look like a student from Mrs. Cable's geometry class going to see Mrs. Meek during lunch for tutoring. So it can be provided by anyone on that team. And then again, at tier 2, most of our students will reach mastery at that time of the grade level standard. But there are some students who won't, and that's where we kind of look at tier 3, and that is where our students need a lot of support to access the grade level curriculum. Typically, that's specialist provided, students who are receiving special education services, or kids who have English as a second language. So when we think about RTI and we kind of mold it into Bethany High School, our teachers came up with brick and mortar. So brick and mortar is our version of a structured intervention and enrichment program that's designed to meet every student's needs, whether they need support or they're already on track. So our teachers initially, years ago, chose this name brick and mortar because the bricks are those foundational concepts that our kids need that they're not getting, that they need support with. So think tier 2, tier 3. And then mortar are those sessions that we have for our kids who are on track and need enrichment, or we're just building connection with them, doing fun things, and you'll see some examples of that in a minute. So how does this work? Our first run several years ago, this is my first year at Bethany High School, so I was not here, but from what I've been told by everyone, it was very successful at the beginning. Teachers loved it, kids loved it, but it required the expertise and management skills of a lot of people. And so over time, those people went on to new adventures at other places, and brick and mortar just kind of slowly fell apart. And so this year we took feedback from teachers and students and came up with a plan to make it better. And so our first step was creating a committee. So we have a teacher committee. We met once a week and then a few times after school. And then together we brainstormed, created plans, reworked them some more, thought of every possible problem, and we set some goals. So this is kind of how we rolled out our program. It was very important to the teachers on our committee that this was digestible for people, that it was not, one more thing or something that we just throw in their lap all at once. And so we really tried to space this out. So our first meeting was a staff meeting on September 8th, and we just kind of talked basics of RTI, similar to the pyramid that I showed you, and kind of told them, like, we're working on a plan for this, more to come, prepare yourselves, it's gonna be great. And then September 22nd was a PD day where our whole district had training on Tier 1 instruction. So our first best instruction for reaching all students. And then we followed that up at the high school with days for our content teams to work on essential learning. So they looked through all of their standards and determined what is it most important that my kids understand before they move on to the next level of whatever their subject is. What is it that they can't do without? What am I going to intervene on? And so our teachers, we gave each team 1 or 2 days. We got subs for their classrooms, and they just went down to the admin building and they worked on this all day, and they came up with some great stuff. After that, we had our all staff training, which is those papers that I gave you. That's what we gave to our teachers at that training. And we went through all the things about brick and mortar. You can see that there's some vocabulary at the top that we used and some words that we used just for us. For example, foundations and finishes, things like that. So we went through all of that at a staff meeting with our entire staff. And then on conference nights, we followed up with a short training on our new online program. The online piece was one of the biggest complaints of our teachers. We didn't know where students were. We weren't able to take attendance. And so it was really important to them and to Mr. Jewell and I that whatever we chose, we were able to account for kids and know where they were, and that we had that safety piece there too. So on those conference nights, we trained our staff on that program. And then on October 22nd, our teachers presented it to students in their classes and helped them sign up for their first session on the online program. And that went really well. Kids were really excited. And then on the 29th, we had our first session. So you can see here, these are some pictures. So in this room, they were doing Just Dance. That was in Miss Harrison's room. She is doing it with them. Every single kid in that room was on their feet dancing. That would not have been me, but love it for them. This is Coach Pennington. He had a European soccer recap. He had a presentation, videos. The boys were very into it. This was Mr. Sharp's group. This was a closed session, which you'll see a description of on your sheet. For the closed session, those students are in band, and they were practicing for their all-state audition. And so not any kid could go into that session, obviously, just those students who are practicing for that. And then we have Mrs. Saylor. She is one of our Spanish teachers, and she was playing card games with the kids, and then she taught them a new one. They played several rounds, and then she let them play whatever they wanted. And then we have some kids coloring here. So it was a really good time. So after we did that, I sent a survey to our students and to our staff to get some feedback. These are some quotes from the student surveys. Generally, they loved that they got to choose, and they loved getting to do something they don't usually get to do. And one of the things that they mentioned the most was that they really needed that brain break and that time to just kind of decompress and hang out with friends or teachers that they don't get to see in those settings. So that was really cool to hear from them. And then we got some feedback from staff, which was similar. Every room that I went in, the teachers were having just as much or more fun than the kids were. They loved it. And for our teachers that were doing the brick sessions and working on supporting students, that feedback was overwhelmingly positive too. A lot of them said that kids advocated for themselves and came in without being asked to come in because they needed help. Students were more willing to ask questions and get the support that they needed. So overall, it was a great first run. We've had assemblies last week and this week, so our next run will be next week. But the kids are really excited. So, any questions?
When does that happen?
On Wednesdays. We have a late start Wednesday,
Right.
and so it's about 10:40 to 11:20.
So 10:40 to 11:20.
Yeah, it's about
Not
40
quite
minutes.
at 40 minutes.
We also didn't have any kids wandering in the halls, which we were shocked by. Only a few of them had to get some redirection, but for the most part, they did a great job. and we were really proud of them and our staff. They really did a great job.
Has the computer system that you guys integrated helped with the issues I know you guys were having with just accountability, really? Because some
Yes.
students on paper, there wasn't a way to track them. Am I thinking of that correctly?
Yeah, 100%. So the new program is super user friendly. We talked to several different districts about what they use for similar programs, and that's how we came across this one. It was affordable and just easy for kids and staff members to use. We don't go through Infinite Campus for this. The programs don't communicate. And so Mrs. Albright, our attendance secretary, was able to pull a report, and then she just kind of cross-checked with Infinite Campus to make sure that our kids that were on campus were accounted for. And then she gave me a list of any kids who weren't. And all of our kids that were on that list, she and I were able to determine they weren't here because they were out for concurrent or Canadian Valley Tech Center and that kind of thing.
So do the kids use that system to sign up for whatever class
Yes.
they're going to, and then you check that?
Yes.
They don't just pop in wherever, they have to.
Correct. They
like,
cannot pop in wherever. They have to sign up, and we have some deadlines for that. Teachers put their sessions in the program. They set them for the time, the amount of students, and so on. And then students sign up. If there are students who need specific help and the teacher is like, no, they need to come to me, then the teachers can assign the students to their session. And then the teachers take attendance in the program, and then we can cross-check.
That's great.
Thanks for printing this out for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
It's
welcome.
helpful to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of blanks. This was very condensed. So hopefully it makes sense and that paper's not too confusing.
Yeah, thank
This
you.
is very helpful. I like the titles, like a foreman, someone
Yeah.
who sweeps the halls. Is that making sure there are no
Yep.
stragglers
Yep.
out in the halls? That's good.
Exactly.
I think that even at 40 minutes, it shows how much a small break can do to reconnect the kids and staff together. That's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, it really does. It's very exciting to see. Like it kind of reignites your passion for it and you know why we do this job, because so much of it is tedious and hard and challenging and a lot of hard conversations with kids during the day and with staff members, and so it's exciting to see everyone getting back to what they love about it. It was really good.
Love to the structure of it. The computer program helps, but you know, a lot of good ideas start really good when everyone has the foundation and idea, but if there's not a structure behind it, it can deteriorate over time, especially as
Yeah.
people leave. And this seems like it has some systems in place
Yes.
that probably will be easy to incorporate new people when they come in, which I like that because we want it to be the same this
Yeah.
year as we create it as 5 years from now. And I think you guys have set up some systems and some ways of doing things that will help with that, I think so.
Yes, very
It's awesome.
sustainable. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
How do we sign up for a session?
I'll let you know.
Let's see. Special services.
Alrighty. So this month of November is Native American Heritage Month. So within our Indian Ed department, they've been doing a lot of fun activities. But we have 115 students who, in order to be enrolled in the program, they have to be a tribal member, and we have to have, certain forms and things. So we have 115 of those students who represent 14 different tribal nations. So that's really cool. We had an assembly yesterday, and the students, just were able to kind of share their regalia and their traditions and customs, and so that was really great for our kiddos. And within our multilingual program, we've had our Latino, Hispanic and Latino clubs have been doing some fun things this month and have more fun things planned. So that's been going really well. And then at the end of October, in the multilingual department, they celebrated Dia de los Muertos and had a little setup out there, and so that was fun. They had some students bring some pictures of loved ones and things like that. So I went down and had some kiddos they wanted to show me the things they had drawn and colored and in their pictures, so that was really cool. Children's Center is going great. Mr. Jasper and I are working on the contract. We'll have that for you at our next board meeting. Nothing significantly changed. We did need to update some wording, just, there were kind of some antiquated, semantics in that contract. I don't think that it had really been updated in about 15 years. So, we just kind of had to update a few things, so that should be ready by next month. And then as far as special services is concerned, we officially, it's kind of been a process, at the end of last year, we purchased some VR headsets to help with transition and to help students really kind of help conceptualize some of those abstract concepts that a lot of our kiddos in special ed struggle with. And so we were able to launch that this month, and the teachers have been playing around with it. High school kids, they've been starting to use it some, but it's so cool. There is a million different things on there, from you can put the headsets on and be in a sensory room and take a sensory break, to you can tour Anne Frank's house. So if they're reading the Diary of Anne Frank, and that's just a hard kind of abstract concept, you can tour the house to kind of help make that come to life. And there's hundreds and hundreds of activities and interactive lessons and things like that that our students can use on the headset. So it's kind of twofold. Our kiddos are going to use it for transition. There are over 40 different careers that they can explore. So today I was looking at one about, there's a whole section on agriculture, and I had no idea. There's like 25 different careers just within the agriculture section. And so you like tour a farm, then there were all different pieces of it. So so that's one piece, and then the other piece is just for our teachers, especially when they are realizing that we got a kiddo that's just struggling with a certain concept and they're just not getting it. This is a way that we can supplement that and go, okay, let me try to find a lesson through the VR headset so that hopefully this will kind of help you understand this concept in a deeper, more meaningful way. So we hope to have those for you at one of our board meetings so that you guys can get to experience it and see it. Our rule is with the headsets, you have to be seated. We don't want anyone getting, falling over, or, breaking a bone or anything like that. So, but so far, some of our students that have been able to use it, they've really liked it, and we'll continue to, as we get better at using the equipment and the program, we'll have more and more kids that will be able to use it. So.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
And then, our activities.
It's me. Before that, I just want to say, watching Miss Silva and seeing the pictures, gosh, and being someone who was involved in brick and mortar when it started, and exactly what she said, I got to see how good it was and going forward. But what comes to mind is when I see the pictures of the kids all interacting and playing games and doing different things, and then the thing I think about is then we have, I think part of that is the no phone policy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that we have those things, what keeps coming to mind, back to my head is, I love it when a plan comes together. It's like you have the no phones, Ms. Silva and Mr. Jewell have revamped that, and now it's what's best for kids. They're actually interacting with one another, they're learning new things that they didn't know, new games, and things like that. And so I just wanted to say that. So before I started, so in regards to activities, cross country, finished their season, both teams went to state, girls got 5th, had a great year. We had some great individual performances. Shane Bonfelt and Morgan McNutt both placed in the top 15. Football finished, their regular season with back-to-back wins, and they got into the playoffs again, and so kind of kept that streak alive, which we're excited about. Go to Elgin this Friday. Cheer and Palm both competed in regionals. Cheer made it to state, and they'll compete on Saturday. This Saturday, I think 3:10 is when the Cheer State is, and it's at Tulsa Union High School. And so we'll be going to that. Palm did a great job. They missed qualifying by 3 points. And so And really what I found out was their draw wasn't great. They got the second draw, which as a judge, I've been there myself. When those first couple, you're a little harder on, and then you start realizing, kind of the standard is here, and they were second. Side note though, that I didn't have on my board report that I found out today, I got a call from the OSSAA. Our Palm team is academic state champs, game day academic state champs. So have a lot of smart kids, and we got that good news, and so they'll be getting recognized on Friday at Palm State. Coach Peralta, I talked to her today, and she's like, I'd like to take the girls. I told her about it, and she was excited, and I said, so if you guys want to go, I just need to know whether you're going to go or not to accept that. And she said, we'd like to. She said, I wanted to take the girls and let them watch state. I used to do the same thing as a coach. You want to show them the teams that are there and what it takes and those things. And so we're really excited about Palm. Choir, doing a great job. They received 3 superiors, outstanding small school award on the treble one choir. They also had 14 to 16 high school students made it to the second round of all-state choir, and all 17 middle school students made it to the second round of all-state choir.
Awesome.
Tomorrow is National Signing Day, so schools across the nation will be their kids will be signing letters of intent to go play at the next level, go play in colleges. And so we're having National Signing Day during lunch. We've got a lot going on. We've got our assembly with Cheer and Palm are both going to be performing during brick and mortar. They're going to have a showcase, and they wanted to do their performance in front of the student body, and so they're going to be doing that during brick and mortar. Then I'll be setting up for National Signing Day. We'll have lots of parents here and things like that, and we've got 8 kids signing. I think 7 are going to sign actually in the gym, and so we'll be doing that during lunch from 12:50 to 1:30. If any of you would like to eat your lunch and watch them sign, but and then Cheer and Palm will again do their showcase in front of the elementary school from 1:30 to 2:15, I believe it is. And so we've got a lot of things going on, and orchestra. The orchestra is having their concert Thursday evening, from 7 to 8:30. And so we've got a lot of things going on. Do you guys have any questions?
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 12, proposed executive session. And 12A, vote to convene or not to convene into executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Palmer,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes. Yes, yeah, that's good, thank you. Let the record reflect that the board voted to enter into executive session at 7:02 PM and exited executive session at 7:22 PM. The board discussed only agenda item number 12, the employment of personnel. No votes or action were taken. Item 13, discussion and possible board action on the employment of personnel in addendum A as authorized by 25 OS 307B1 for the 25-26 school year.
I'll make a motion to approve the employment of personnel in addendum A as authorized by 25 OS 307B1 for the 25-26 school year pending a background check.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Palmer,
Yes.
Inks,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes. Item 14, informational items.
All right, we've got some activities coming up. We have Holiday Meals, which is a great activity where we have a great meal that's served by our cafeteria, but also we have some students who are able to join them. So Holiday Meals will be Friday, November 14th for 1st, 3rd, and 5th grade, and Friday, December 12th for kindergarten, 2nd grade, and 4th grade. We have our Kiwanis Breakfast. We'll be hosting that on December 6th from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. The actual breakfast is 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And so hope people will be able to join us. I know we'll have some performances by our choir for that as well. So it's a great thing to come to. 3rd grade musical will be November 20th at 6 p.m. Thanksgiving break is November 24th through 28th. Elementary restaurant night will be December 5th at Mr. Gaddy's Pizza. And Board Appreciation Night will be January 27th, so I want to remind you guys to make sure you put that on your calendar. January 27th.
At the basketball game.
At the basketball game,
At the
correct.
basketball.
Yep. So you might put that on your calendars and let me know if you have any trouble with that. Looking forward to recognizing you guys.
Item 15, board member comments.
I'd like to welcome our new board member. Glad to be serving with you.
It's great to be here.
Glad to have you. Item 16, superintendent report.
All right, so want to celebrate all of our fall activities and sports that are winding down. Not quite finished yet, but certainly winding down and moving into our winter seasons. And again, just the great success that we are consistently seeing in our programs across the board is just always amazing to me. We don't just excel at one thing. Our kids, whatever their interest is, they're getting great experiences and having a lot of success, and we appreciate our students' hard work, but also our coaches leading them, so appreciate that. As Mrs. Donnelly stated, talking about the food situation, I want to add to that, it's really amazing to me that our community does respond in times of need, but also I'm really proud that we have a lot of these things that go on a regular basis. We have a food pantry that operates all the time, and so not that we boast about those things or brag about those things, and we're sensitive to families in need and careful with how we talk about those things, but when something like benefits possibly being cut happens, it's nice to know that we already have systems in place. We're not scrambling to create something brand new. And so just really proud of our recent response, as Mrs. Donnelly mentioned, but also just proud that that is something that we always as a district have looked at and just taken care of basic needs. So proud of them for that. Also had to talk about our Veterans Day Assembly today, and then elementary had theirs last week, but today we heard from our choir, our band, our orchestra, we had a guest speaker, we had Boys All State, and one of the things the speaker said while he was up there, actually at the beginning of his speech, he said, we have people come up to us and they say, thank you for your service, and that's very kind, but he said, a lot of times actions speak louder than words. And he was making a point of just some of the actions of how, to show respect, which I thought was very interesting. But then a little bit later in his speech, he paused in his speech and he talked to the students about how attentive they were and how respectful they were being. I've never heard a speaker stop in a speech and acknowledge a group of students in that way. And I thought, that's exactly what he was talking about just a little bit ago. It was an action of respect. And so couldn't be more proud of our students. And I know there's, you know, teachers that have conversations, and Mrs. Donnelly has conversations with students, even as she's talking, but and it was not short. I mean, this was a long assembly. It was a great assembly, and the students really showed what we teach them all the way from elementary school, which is be respectful. And to have a speaker who stops and says, you guys have been very attentive, very awesome. It was just, can't be more proud. So happy to honor our veterans, and I feel like they did a fabulous job of that. So thank you guys for all your work in doing that. We also recently had a vape assembly. You know, we've talked a lot about this over the last few years. Just want to let you guys know we have continued that education process, because we have successfully helped students and I would say controlled the problem that we had in the high school previously. Our numbers are way down, almost, I don't want to knock on wood here, but non-existent. But there's a piece that goes with that is constant education, because we know kids are hearing a different message, and every single one of our kids is going to be approached or have access to at some point. And so we've gotten very good control of the situation, and we are having very few incidents at school, but we don't want to get comfortable with that. We want students to know this is what it is, this is what it isn't. Some of the things that they're hearing out there, we want to make sure they have the right information. So again, very happy with our continuing education of that. We also had an Office of Civil Rights audit. We were randomly selected as a district, one of 8, I think, throughout the state. It was just our year, and obviously you can always be a little bit anxious about any audit that you get. I'm sure the financial audit, same way, you just never know, you know, what's gonna show up. And the audit itself was great. The thing that really stood out with me was you have no idea what they're gonna come in asking about or saying, hey, I need to see this, hey, I need to talk to this person. Well, a lot of that was our FACS program, our counselors and 504s. They talked to our administrators. They talked to Mr. Mont about facilities. The thing that was most impressive in that audit was every person that they went and talked to was spoke so well as an expert in their area, that after it was all said and done, the auditor back in my office made the statement of, man, you're really lucky you've got a lot of people who know their stuff. An example of this, I'll embarrass Mr. Mont. There's some little device that he had that, you know, it like a little rod thing. You'd never know what it is, but evidently it is something you use to push on a door. For ADA compliance, the door has to have a certain amount of pressure that it opens at. Well, when Mr. Mont gets in the room, he sits down, he says, oh, I know what that is. And the guy says, you do? And he's like, yeah, know exactly what that is. And that was just a silly example of everywhere we went, people were talking very specifically to what they should know. And I could just tell the auditor, and he said it back in my office, you've got a lot of great people working around you. They really know their stuff. And that was just a few examples, but I could go through a lot of others. Every single person, there wasn't one person that I was sitting there like, oh, I don't know that that's the right answer, which is what you're worried about, right? So I couldn't be, again, more proud of just, you know things are going well and the people around you are doing a great job, but when you see a very specific example of like that, it just makes you really proud. Also our foundation auction, wow, I mean, we I would say as a foundation, they took a little bit of a chance of having an online auction only, and a lot of reasons for that, but you just never know how that's gonna go. And you know, once again, the community stepped up, a lot of hard work went into it, so I appreciate everyone in the foundation who had pivotal roles in that. I don't wanna give an exact number, because I don't think we have an exact number, but I can easily say we exceeded, I think, what even the foundation felt like they were going to do. They knew it was gonna be a little bit less because it was online only, and looking to kind of alternate that and experiment with that. And I can say we've exceeded that goal. I don't want to ruin any big surprises, so I'm not going to mention any numbers, but I think we exceeded that goal once again, and that's gonna go towards, grants for teachers once again, and, so really excited about that, and just thankful for the foundation that we have and the job that they do to raise money for us once again. I do have, for you guys, your continuing education report, so I'll pass that out to you guys, tonight as well. And then I'm gonna end on this. We recently found out that our middle school was ranked number 6 in Oklahoma amongst middle schools by niche.com, and so we are very proud of them and their efforts. You know, it just continues to happen where we get another report of being ranked a certain way, and usually they're very good. But you know, middle school. I talked to Mrs. Donnelly and said, you know, and I've talked to her along the way. I've seen a lot of little things along the way of just culture and things that I see teachers interacting with students, and just the feeling and the conversations they're having with academics. We've seen their report card steadily rise every single year. So really proud of this, just because it's something that's physical, tangible, that says, hey, you know, people are noticing we're doing some great things there, along with all of our other buildings, but that's one that most recently came up. And so congratulations to the middle school. You guys deserve the recognition, and proud to be able to mention it. And that is my report.
All right, we're adjourned.